Oop, whoop, whoop. Hello, everybody. Oh, hello. I hope you're all having a great Monday, wherever in the world you are. I'm all ready for a jam-packed Monday night stream, and well, I think seven people are already watching. So let's wait for everyone to come in and just take a few more minutes while I relax and kind of get settled in. This is another completely random and impromptu online stream. But as you can see and hear around here, we've taken some precautions and made some improvements. The sound must be better. The camera is better because I'm using a better camera now. Purchased thanks to your patreon.com donations. Hello, says Bleatnik Gaming. Hello, everybody. Did Oreosaurus join yet? I guess not. Because if they had, we would be seeing their strings of infinite messages. Let's give everybody like 1.5 more minutes for everybody to come in. We already have 5 people, so it's a nice, cozy start of the week date with 5 of our friends here. Joseph says, why don't you give your page shout out at the end of your videos? Well, in most of my videos, I do. In the big productions, like everybody gets named individually. But I could give a Patreon shout out here, even though I don't think anybody here hasn't heard of it. But let's keep to form. If you're watching this stream on my YouTube page after it's been broadcast, perhaps consider supporting your favorite weird Turkish person and just donate to me on patreon.com. Also consider donating to me on Buy Me a Coffee, where if you're in the mood for like one-time donations, that's the place to go. Plus, you get a gallery of unique watercolor sketches that nobody else gets to see. So, and also on Patreon, you get so much. I mean, you got all sorts of all tomorrow's plot reveals, Snaya designs, some paintings. I'm just broadcasting them entirely on Patreon now. I don't like hiding behind paywalls, but that's what the world has made me do. Patreon, buy me a coffee, and also consider the new merch store. These are all in the links, by the way. You can buy some funky t-shirts, including the famous Soldier of God Dirty Idol t-shirt. In case you remember, in case you don't remember, this was the Soldier of God. It's a statue. It's a sculpture I made out of an acacia needle and a kind of piece of wood I found in a burnt out mansion. It's probably cursed. It's definitely cursed now because it has got butterfly wings stuck on its back. I did not kill this butterfly. I found it dead on a windowsill. And the black varnish that covers it is made out of the just filthiest stuff imaginable. The black paint here comes from a jar of black paint, ink, spit, saliva, and shit I've been accumulating for almost 5 years now. So, really nasty stuff. Fight the good fight, soldier of God. Well, if you go to the merch store, you can get a t-shirt of this guy. And who knows, what else should I do this? Like, do you want a mug with this guy on or like some other kind of decoration? Just let me know. Everybody's kind of gathering in. 19 people watching. Wow. All right. Hello, milady. Okay, let me put back the soldier of God. We got all sorts of midnight snacks for you. Yes. We got the Kit Kat. We got the tangerines. We got a plate of cucumbers. We got the 2-in-1 cheapest kind of ready-made coffee. And just for tonight, we got a just regular lactose-free milk from the supermarket. It's called Doast, which means friend. The friend milk. Milady Cass says they did not know tangerines could be green. Well, they are green in this early months of winter. They do get tangerine colored later on. Lactose intolerance solidarity. I'm not lactose intolerant. This just tastes sweeter, so I just like it that way. I drink regular milk, fatty milk. I love that stuff. Got a stomach of iron, that's for sure. Mm. Mm. The bad thing is I have had some mouth ulcers lately. Long story short, I ate a strawberry. One of the little goddamn pits in the strawberry got lodged between my wisdom teeth, and there it became an infection. Went to the dentist. Guy just took like, just took a knife and just and he really like fucking flensed the area around all my teeth, bursting the infection in the process. Fortunately, the tooth wasn't rotten, so it wasn't extracted. But uh, as a result, now I have clean teeth, but mouth ulcers everywhere. And that I am medicating with this amazing mixture. It's just drinking water, warm drinking water, mixed with salt. So it's salty water. Plus, there's a lot of like like a few drops of a really intense oral antiseptic here. So this is like a complete like wipe the slate clean kind of thing. So mm, this is my jar of years old black paint, and now I'm gonna show you just how wild this shit is. Yes. So now it goes on like this. Whenever there's like some shit coming out of my body in the table, also like some ink and shit just goes in here. And then from there it goes on to all the paintings I've been making. So years later, when I'm like I hopefully I'll have a long life, but when I'm dead and shit, and this is in a museum, it's like, oh, the most exquisite shade of black. But you'd better not be touching that. Okay, that's enough gross jokes to get everybody started and settled in. Okay, okay. So we got a lot of comments. Rexy Rex says they got an Edmontosaurus figure with the leg broken off. Well, I hope my gross antics cheered you up. Alican Yeşilçimen says selam, selam dostum. Herney says, I just wanted to say your art is so inspirational to me. Thank you. These kind of messages really cheer me up. Milady says hello. Milady also asks, is healthcare free in Turkey? Well, even if it even the bits that aren't free are like considerably cheaper. I had a friend asking for his wife's root canal therapy, and there it costs like $9,000. What the fuck? I don't even make that much in a year, probably. Here it costs $1,000. So you could like get on a plane, have a big ass holiday, get the root canal, wait until you recuperate, then fly back home. You're still like paying less than half the money. But most of healthcare is free, although private options are also available for like really big, like life changing surgeries like brain surgery or heart surgery. Maybe you're better off going to a private clinic, but even then, I mean, like this dental operation, for me, it was free. I'll tell you why it was later. Isn't it amazing that potatoes and tomatoes are in the same genus, Solanum? Really? I always thought tomatoes and peppers were in the same genus. I don't know. Forbidden milkshake? Yeah. God damn. Oh. Why can't healthcare be affordable in the United States? Ask your leaders. I think they want to make everybody work, so you have to depend on them for health insurance. I don't know, it's really counterintuitive how it developed that way in the United States. I think it's related with the my freedom and liberties that basically the country was structured around in a more Darwinian system. And don't get me wrong, that system could have been fine until like maybe the 1970s or something, when getting a job was easier and one person could support an entire family with their job. Now, though, I mean, there has to be an alternative at least. Well, Turkey is great for medical tourism, though. So if you ever want to like visit, especially for weird things like hair transplants or like nose surgery or like Invalizine and shit, it is said, in my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion too. All right. We had 20 people here. Now the numbers decreased to 14. So let's do a roll call, see where everybody's from. I'm in a very hyperactive and excited mode, but the mouth ulcers kind of keep hurting me. So if I speak slower, sorry about that. It's not because I'm low on energy. Starblind says, Memo brother, have you given on Grahamstown? Remind me what the Grahamstown deal was. I don't remember. I haven't given up on Grahamstown, but what was this thing about? Hernie from Minnesota, Monospondylus from Hattusha, yeah, yeah. Lorelei from Southern California, Absent Fish in Essex. My good friend, were you not in Sirnagora, Montenegro a while back? Top Hat Purple is from Switzerland, represent. Oreosaurus is from Australia, represent. Michal Janowski is from Czechia, represent. Asian Characters is from Israel, represent. And it's like a very, very hairy time to be there in Israel and in Palestine. And I've been resisting the urge to say anything about this for so long. Polydaedalus is from Schweiz, which is Switzerland. The National Arts Festival, yes, yes. Okay, the one in South Africa, yes. Okay, I'll get back to you on that. I haven't given up. I've just been hell of a lot busy. Have you heard about the terrorist attack in Israel? Yes, and it was horrible. Almost as bad as the way the Israeli state just played into Hamas' hands in their response. I'm always here and I'm always from Brazil. I do want to move either to the capital, Brasilia, or go to Alaska or Turkey someday. Haha. I'll tell you what, if you ever change countries, go to Alaska. Turkey, let's say, forecloses certain options for human development. Then, when you became an American citizen, you can just visit. What on Oh, there's a Swiss lobby forming. Warum so will Schweizer here, says TK Sivgin, also known as Manos Pondilus. What on God's green earth are you drinking? It's just ready-made Starbucks coffee. Not even Starbucks, one of like dusty, coffee dust and milk dust mixed together. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, God damn this mouth ulcer hurts. I'll be right back. Ask some questions while I bring some sugar over to drop. We've almost had a four liquid dinner bash here. We got the milk, we got the coffee, we got the H2O. Okay, then we got the mouth rinse, so it counts as a four liquid meal. Okay, send in your questions. Let's talk about like maybe your personal lives if you're having trouble. Like a lot of people are struggling these days. Like we can always talk about speculative evolution and stuff, but I'm always trying to nudge people to ask things about more personal, like it doesn't have to be personal, but like daily life or slice of life questions. And I think we have much better interactions with those. So like ask him on. I'll be right back. All right. Quip, quip. And let's get this. Oh, legends. All right, we got some good questions already. Jaden says, "Hey Memo, hello TYAZR. I have a painful bump in my mouth next to my molars. I think, yeah, it happens to me, milady, too. It might be due to wisdom teeth issues too." Herne says, what do you look for inspiration? What inspires you? When I break my routine, like when I'm making stuff, I'm always sitting down. But when I physically go out, walk, or interact with people, I always get flashes of inspiration. So, in a nutshell, like if you want to get inspired, first you have to have a reservoir of ideas and information, obviously. But then, when you want inspiration to like hit you, it's really a good idea to break your routine and like do something physical or social. So you got a few modes of human existence. You got the physical mode in which you're moving or like working with your body. You got or doing sports. You got the cerebral in which you're in front of a screen working. You got also the social in which you're interacting with people. So there. Have you been around X? Unfortunately, not. I only got to Exeter, but that's not close by, I think. Orny says, my slice of life is mostly cleaning gross stuff these days, among other things that are not really just fun. Well, brother or sister, we all have that. I can assure you, life has a way of going on, and it's always better with friends. What gross stuff are you cleaning? Your avatar is a cassowary, so maybe you're into birds and maybe you're cleaning bird cages. I don't know. Polydaya says, how cold is it in Turkey? Well, yesterday it was a balmy 20 degrees Celsius, high 70s for Americans. Now it's like suddenly dropped like 10 degrees at once, and it's like raining and cold. Ah, just weather to stay in, but I can't complain. I can't complain. This summer was really a massacre of heat and moisture. Maybe it's my age, but I just can't take that shit anymore. How do you deal with the absurd? Well, the absurd deals with me. If you're thinking about maybe the absurdity of life, I don't think much about it because I know in my heart of hearts that life only seems inconsequential because time is a flow, but the good things you do always stay with you, or in my personal belief, they also stay in the information ledgers of the universe. And when you think that way, everybody does die, and you know, only our defeats are final, all our triumphs are ephemeral. But if you look at time this way, eh, life is actually pretty consequential. All right. Let me just get my. Any tips on. Whoa, we got lots of questions. Any tips on getting into concept art? Just draw your own concepts. Maybe study some of the like classic concept artists like Ralph McQuarrie or Terrell Whitlatch or Doug Chiang. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it's very hard to break into the market. Even the talented like masters of the genre are not getting paid enough. Big producers and studios are just like very unethical employers. Starblind says, do you like classic folk like Bob Dylan, Crosby, Stills, Nash? Not intensely, but all of these names you mentioned, I like their songs and listen to them, but like it's good music, but I cannot be very detailed because I don't listen to them with like as an enthusiast, but when they come on, I'm like, oh, that's some good shit. You should do more movie media reviews, in my opinion. Yes, I'm planning to go see this new Napoleon film with Joaquin Phoenix in it, so maybe I'll do a review for that. I try to avoid movie reviews because then I think I lose my agency because I want to on in this channel I want to do things that I want. I could want to talk about criminal cryptids or like weird weather phenomena, and I want it. I should be able to do it. It feels very rewarding. And sometimes I want to do movie reviews, yet, but not as much. Lord of Mosquitoes, what's your favorite art piece that you made? I don't know. There's so many. I have hundreds of paintings, like literally. Also, like lots of paleo art drawings and creature art. So can't really answer. And maybe you have this too, but like I intensely like some paintings sometimes, but then I hate them. Like this painting right here, it's like this winged apparition. When I first painted it, I was this close to just throwing it away. Then I like let it sit under my table or like in a cupboard for like a few months. Then I uncovered it and I said, "Oh, not so bad." So I made some additions and now I like it so much that it's hanging in my library. Orny says, "I wish I was working with birds." Well, what are you working on if it's not too private? Do you think dinosaurs tasted similar to chicken? Says Fernando. Oh well, I think like chicken but coarser. Ooh, lots of questions. I have to clean my bird cages and my leopard gecko's tank. The bird cages are always a pain. Yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to help me because my pet's my problem, basically. I am okay. So, from this comment, I am getting a hint that maybe some parents or roommates or like a significant other is involved in this equation, but they don't want to help. Well, that's why actually, I'll throw a curveball on you and like whoever says your pet's your problem, maybe they're annoying, but in a way, they're also right. Like I got like a few Tupperware boxes. Like I got one for land snails. I got a big land snail orama here actually. So these are my pets. I got land snails from a few different species. It's just a here, but like closely snails, which are like these. If you can see it, it's like a tiny. I don't know if you can see it, and I want to disturb it. It's like a tiny minute, basically. And they look like sea animals, but they live on land. So there's a bunch of them here. There's a few other kinds of snails, some pill bugs and stuff. And even they, I have to clean. Like I keep them moisturized. I give them food. That's why I'm a big subscriber in the Your Pets Your Responsibility school of thought. By the way, and that's why I I'm reluctant to take care of anything bigger than these things, because like after a certain age, like even if a goldfish died now, I'd feel very sad and responsible. Oreo says, I saw this one book you and Christian Klein are working on. That's very cool. Well, correction, I only wrote the introduction for this book. Unlike some people I could name, I won't call it my book, it's Christian's book. Well, counterfactual is like when Darren Nash wrote the introduction for all yesterday's book, he was parading it around like his book. But credit where credit is due. He's a well-known zoologist, so he did a great deal of publicity for the book. So that's okay. Asuman Okman is here. If this is the real Asuman Okman, ladies and gentlemen, she's one of my first teachers from elementary school. It's either her or somebody who knows I went to school with a teacher named Asuman Okman. But if it's you, Miss Okman, my best wishes to you. I am where I am, all thanks to you and your colleagues' hard work, and thank you so much for your patience with me. I was the annoying kid who would never stop talking. Thomas Strimpel says, my slice of life includes drawing squamates and temnos and hiking in the woods. You're living the life, man. My brother keeps water snails. They can control their buoyancy. Yeah, they're crazy. I actually also have water snails, but I don't want to bring them in because they're in a jar and I'm afraid I might spill it. But they really do have this anti-gravity thing where they're like these Sardukar from the latest Dune movie. They have the gravity canceling belts almost. Very low maintenance pets, but like even when like inevitably some die and then also sometimes they have babies, but when they die you feel sad. Fernando Quecatrix says, why are so many on the far right against climate change? I don't think they are against climate change. There's a bunch of different reactions. Like some of them just say that this system of carbon credits and like sustainability, corporate sustainability initiatives, and this drive to have like quote unquote green products. It's just a new tax regime forced upon the world. And I think that's correct. If you want a sustainable world, if you want to fight against climate change, you can only do this by extremely heavy, brutal rules imposed by the government. And we know from COVID that governments can do this. So instead of like halving greenhouse gases, you could just say, okay, odd license plates with numbers ending in odd numbers can go out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Others go on Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. If anybody breaks the rule, government confiscates your car. Bam! Greenhouse gases halved. You don't need to buy a new car. You don't need to buy a new device. You just need to use the same device for your life, basically. And that's the best way to fight against gas emissions and climate change. So that's one part of the anti-climate rhetoric. And to be honest, I like strongly agree with parts of that. But then again, you got people denying that climate change is real, or like, and then these people are in the back pockets of the fossil fuel lobby. So it's a complicated bunch of people being weird for a complicated selection of reasons. Harness says a lot of issue with climate change is corporations causing the pollution. Exactly, exactly. And the government could like bash their heads in if they wanted to. Like, you don't want plastic straws? Okay, bomb. In one night, they could like force the production of these things to stop. They don't. But in Starbucks, you get the option of buying a paper straw for maybe more money. It's not going to work. Milady says there are also far right people like eco-fascists, or like some like extreme like blood and soil people want like a clean earth with lots of fields. Like, this is what I think about this whole thing. Like, currently in political discourse, you have left and right people, and these are like bundles of positions on a variety of issues. But I think if you replay the political history of the last 30 years all over again, you could see some very weird, like not all of these things have to end up together. You could if you rerun political history again due to contingency effects, you could have left-wing people maybe supporting abortion bans, or right-wing people being like savagely more environmentalist. Like, a lot of these things got bundled together because of like random selections of reasons, in my opinion. Hello, Mr. Cozy Man, says Nicholas Conradson. I'm a rambling boogeyman. Na, na, na, na, na. Mm. How are you doing, everybody? How was your weekend? What did you all do on the weekend? Come on, write it up and we'll talk about it. Write it up while I get some sugar into my bloodstream. It's Kit Kat time. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Starblind says I'm their spirit animal. Well, I'll show you how to do a Kit Kat slam. Okay, you take a Kit Kat, a big one, bite off one end, then bite off the other end. Now this becomes like a straw. You can actually poke it into your coffee. Mm. So now this is full of coffee. Now, it's like mushy and coffee filled inside and rigid and chocolatey outside. Oh, on delectable textures. Mm. Oh, yes. Let's see what everybody did on their weekends. Mm. All right. It's nice to prompt people like this. Nicholas Konradsen is cutting up wood, making bagpipes. Wow. Amazing stuff. Herne is preparing for Halloween party. This year, I want to dress up for Halloween too. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll have a costume stream. Ah, that would be sexy. Yeah. I could cover myself with fake blood and shit. That could be interesting. Maybe I will bake a cake tomorrow. Hmm. Bon appetit. And Razem went to a Halloween craft market. Nice. Man, these things, you mostly have them in the States. They're great. Hayden studied for exams. Hang in there, my friend. Ornis was knitting a gravital. Oh, thank you. Oreosaurus was working on their peanut board game civilization thing and drew aliens. Looks like time well spent. Michal Janowski went to a cool comics festival. Sasikala also had a bad time with exams, apparently. Do you like coffee cake? I don't like coffee cake too much. I'm not a cake person. I like strawberry cakes. I like apple pie, apple tart, strawberry tart. I'm a sucker for tarts, but I don't like cakes per se. Thomas Trimpel is braver than I could ever be because he's been watching Jacob's Ladder. You know what that film is? It's like the scariest film ever. Some guy has this schizophrenia, hallucinations, and sees these demons. They're all like very well done. And oh. Milady has had apparently a very poignant weekend. Her dad came over, went to a pizza place and Walmart, and then went to put in to the bank to put in money. Ah, I'm guessing your parents are separate, but you are a very cool dad. Starblinds is also studying wildly for A levels. Well, best of luck. Are there any Turkish treats you really like? Boy, you now opened the gates of hell. I like so many things. So there are these like little Turkish delight, but in little cube. Call them birds Turkish delight, literally kuş lokumu. I love those. There are also these things that look like Twinkies, but they're traditional handmade, and they're called tulumba tatlısı. They're nice. Imagine a Twinkie elongated into a ring form, and it's a relative of that tulumba tatlısı, but it's called halka tatlısı, which means the ring dessert. I love that too. So lovely. What else in Turkish treats? I like, if you factor in like non-dessert meals, I could count you almost the entire spectrum of Turkish cuisine. In fact, if you know any Turkish people, you would probably notice that I'm like quite different from many average Turkish people. But when it comes to food, the whole nation is like boom, united. Do you know about the TV cook Fanny Craddock? Says Ornis. Not as much as I should. Oh, so sad to hear your parents divorced a decade ago. Dad lives in New Jersey and you live in Pennsylvania. Ah, nice. Well, as long as there's no bad blood, these things happen. Who knows? Thoughts on kulfi? I don't know what kulfi is. A little more context. Yeah. Let's do it. Top time. Hello, Jaloop last name. This is gonna put me to sleep real good. Starblind says, can you dirty talk the chat in Turkish? No. Only a few people have heard me talk that way. And it's not public. Nicholas Conrad said, what is that strange black totem with the zigzag and eyes? Are you asking about the soldier of... I'm sure you were here when I was talking about it. Come on. Go to my merch store to buy a big t-shirt of the soldier of God. And you can watch earlier parts of this stream or my previous stream to learn more about its deepest lore. Fanny Craddock is known for stuff like icing sugar on omelets. I got to admire, I love this British sense of humor. Are you a night or day person? Good question. I'm a day person, actually. When I was in college, I used to have these like 3 a.m. bedtime nights, but the next day I wake up feeling like shit. So I'd rather like go to sleep at maybe 1 a.m. the latest, then wake up around 7 or 8 and start the day. But truth be told, I really enjoy these conversations with you guys on these live streams, and I always like them the best when they're at night for some reason. Squid Lord is watching that Star Trek Voyager episode with Parasaurolophus dinosaurs. Have you read on Futuyima's evolution? No, I haven't. But if you describe it, I'd be happy to read. TYZR is also a day person. That's great. And Jaden was also 3D modeling an alien creature for the school portfolio. I actually saw pictures of this in Twitter and you've done a great job. I remember you were having difficulty with the legs, the feet. So try to do like a cylinder pointing down, then maybe like put cylinders around it like this, this, this. Maybe make the cross section triangular so it can radiate like a triangle. I don't know, but you're doing great. Basically, do something like this, and this could maybe move. Like basically something like this. Who knows? Hope it works. Oh, you already found a similar solution. Starblind says, Uyma's Evolution is a textbook that has everything you need to know about evolution. It's really cool. No, I don't, but I think I'll take a look at it. We got 22 people. Will you be at TetsuCon? Well, unfortunately, it looks like no. Last year I was there and it was great. I met up with a lot of people, but it was because John and Darren agreed to pay my plane tickets and my visa expenses. So they basically flew me in there as a guest, and like I was one of the attractions there. This year, there's no such plan, unfortunately. So, and the currency economic situation is really not great. Like £1 is like 40 liras at this point. So I don't think I can any expenses. Are there any examples of rock, paper, scissors in nature? Probably. I'm sure there's some with genitals in the insect world somewhere. Rock can fertilize scissors, scissors can fertilize paper, papers can fertilize rocks, but not the other way around. It's a pity I can't go to TetsuCon, but I don't know. And let's think outside the box for a moment. Maybe one day we can do a Kozemen Con. Ornis says, I'm reading this in, I cannot unread this in the voice of Palpatine. The circle of life is a long chain of rock, paper, scissors with some detours that most consider unnatural. Yes, Kozum and Kon, yes, all 20 something of us could come together. I feel like it will happen someday. Yeah, I hope so. I'm actually gunning for these like big American science fiction conventions after I finish and publish all tomorrows, and hopefully it becomes a big enough attraction for people to invite me there. So that's my game plan. And there we can all meet together in the US of A. Palpatine's return in episode 9, based or cringe? Cringe. Somehow Palpatine returned. Like if that happened just in the first film of the sequel trilogy, then I could have accepted it, because something like that happens in the old Legend Star Wars series where Palpatine gets cloned like even twice or something. And I think one of his clones was defective. So that story is actually not a new thing, but they should just have turned the old Legends, quote unquote, books into movies, and they would have been far better. I really dislike J.J. Abrams, as he's one of these glib characters you meet in life. Ryan Johnson gets a lot of shit for the sequel trilogy, but he's actually quite a good and creative filmmaker. And he tried to do his best. Imagine also he's working surrounded with this Disney corporate nobodies. And I think he did his goddamn best for that movie. Yeah. When Oscar Isaac says somehow Palpatine returned, he just like knocked like $1 million off his net worth right there. Well, thanks for finding my Star Wars takes based. Actually, like back in here, I got a whole shelf of Star Wars books. I just can't show them to you because they're like hidden away in one of the lower corners. But I was a big, big Star Wars fan even before the prequel trilogy. How strong would chimps be if they did weight training? Pretty strong, I guess. They would be ripped, as the saying goes. So much in the sequels were loosely based on the extended universe of, yeah, yeah, but loosely, because they try to do something on their own, but they're not George Lucas, so they can't come up with an original thought if their lives depended on it. So they plagiarized from the actual sequels, but they kind of changed it so it doesn't seem like. But why go halfway? Hayden says they gotta go to class, but have a wonderful evening. Cheers. Have a nice time at class. What are your thoughts on the people who call Star Wars woke? Okay, here are my thoughts on people who complain about quote unquote wokeism in games and movies. These people are like such a symptom of the ages. I mean, their sense of political outrage is a narrative point in a popular culture product. And you probably know this guy who was like shouting about pronouns in a game. It's a computer game. It's something big companies put down people's throats for money. And so you would have been okay if the game had like no like I don't know, if the game did not have pronoun issues, then this guy would have been okay. But he still would have been getting reamed by the awful collusion of corporate and government powers that keep people in thrall in this day and age. This world has currently two big issues, and I think I disagree with on this if you must, but they are more important than even the climate crisis. One of these issues is that you have to realize I was born in 1984, okay? When I was born, like you could just go to the street, I don't know, sell milk or like whatever. I mean, this is a oversimplification, but you did not think about doing things so much. You just went out and did things. Now, all around the world, these big companies and the governments have reached this sort of collusion, and everything is an expense now. You want to have sex, you want to buy condoms, you want to see, but even when I was born, there were more options available to an individual. Maybe you could not go as far, but you had more directions in which one could go. Now that doesn't exist. That's a big thing. Second biggest issue is the fact that people have been turned against each other. There's this almost uncrossable divide between college educated people and people basically who work blue collar jobs, and the two sides just hate each other. And I blame the college educated classes for like throwing the first stone. But if you want to have like if you want to have a future in which you're looking forward to having kids or growing old in a like healthy community, you need to find ways to like cross this artificial class boundary. That's the second biggest issue, because everybody's going to be living in a lot of people with a lot of very different ideas, and these some of these people are going to be like cunts and assholes too. They're going to be violent sometimes, but like here's for example what I don't get. Okay, I'm just giving a hypothetical scenario from an American perspective. If somebody's been to college and they want to go to the mall, they say, I don't want to go to Walmart, I want to go to Target. Why? Why? Why? And you get similar things even in goddamn Turkey, and I'm sure it happens in all the countries. You don't need to go to that market. Why? Because that's where all the grubby people go. That's where all the ugly people go. That's where all the Well, if you pursue that ick, if you pursue that ick that deeply, my friend, you may not die a natural death. I mean, you would know. I come from a similar like privileged background too, and like the stupid things like I've seen, like not to get into Cosman family drama here, but like I've always been a money saver, penny pinch kind of guy, and I remember one of like the angriest I gotten with my parents was like I take the bus everywhere or just walk or run, unless there's an emergency. And like one day it was rainy, I don't care. I came to my family's like parents' house, soaking wet. And I don't mind, by the way. I mean, there's a hot shower right there. I go in. Like, why don't you take a cab? What are you, some sort of bus stop person? This is like verbatim what they said. I was like, fuck off. And like, you don't need to like have this sort of like fake solidarity either, because there are some ways in which lived experience is forever going to set you apart. But at least you can like really dial down the disgust instinct, because you're dealing with fellow people here. And most of these divisions are just artificial ones imposed by the choice of products, choice of like clothes, apparel. And insane how strong these lines cut. I'm gonna get you red pilled here. Huh? Yeah, classism is a big issue that isn't talked about. Yeah, yeah, all over the world. I just got here and heard something about views from an American person. How can I help? Well, you would. Fernando Catecaix is softening up the tone by asking about would intelligent crabs keep their shell armor? I think they would keep it because it's part of their skeleton. At least you can try. About the class divide issue, there's like one very nice tradition in Turkey. It is like when you support somebody, when you give aid, don't show it to anybody. So if you ever find yourself in a privileged spot, maybe just like, I mean, if I was like a multimillionaire or a billionaire, I was just talking about this with a friend earlier actually. If I was like Elon Musk, I would just pay random people's college debt in the States and then maybe do a house lottery. I would purchase like 20,000 apartments or 30,000 homes and just give them out to people randomly. If I'm Elon Musk, I would even make a fancy app people can like, or like build a town of just free housing. And that would be a legacy. It would be a bigger legacy than going to fucking Mars, which is never going to happen. Or like make 10 hospitals or make one hospital in every state that operates freely. How about that? What do you think about overpopulation, says Jaden? I think it's a non issue. Uh, in all world countries, populations are plateauing or going down. Some people wrongly think this is like, our white people are going extinct, our is going extinct bullshit. No, actually, it's going to like slide down a bit. And I think the world population is going to stabilize at around maybe 3 to 5 billion. And in the meantime, it will be a bit chaotic, but when it levels off, the world's social structures will be more at home with the actual people who inhabit it. And like, yeah, there's some people say, our world doesn't have too many people. We have too little people. We could support 28 billion people. Yeah, but if you want to do that, everybody's going to be living in fucking mega cities, like some Akira bullshit. And the the technologies, and remember, technologies are not just computers and cars and planes, but there are things like modes of social organization. For example, having a SWAT team ready to call in every small town is also a technology. It's a security technology. Now, if you have 28 billion people, the technologies you will need to feed and control that many people are inevitably going to become tyrannical to such a degree that they will make any fictional dystopia look tame in comparison. So you don't want that. And it's always weird that these like pro-natalist assholes are like also in some weird way scared of like they want like quote unquote white people to like fuck hard and like make hundreds of millions and whatever, but they're scared when 50,000 immigrants enter their country. When you see somebody with internal conflict in their positions, you don't trust them, man. You like my hair? Thank you. Nice, you got long hair now, says Clam James. Comfy Mumphy likes it well too. I probably won't have kids because I'm so scared of overpopulation, says Jaden. Okay, let me also weigh on this too. Like, first of all, don't worry about this. Um, the decision to have kids or not, when somebody is younger, it is more idealistically made, and believe me, like before they're 20, before they've at least like basically when a person is in that age where they want to have lots of sex, okay, and have lots of fun, nobody wants to have kids because everybody wants to have some fun, especially in our society today. When the time comes and people commit to a decision of having or not having kids, all examples I have seen from my life, myself included, it's like a deeper and more sensitive calling, and it's very very like a very personal issue. I've known so many guys who are like, "Oh, me, I'm just gonna fuck until I drop. I don't want any responsibilities." And then 5 years later, like, Look at my baby! Look at my baby! Look at my baby!" Whereas also, I've known some people who are like incredibly like quote unquote basic in their lives, but then they discover a life pursuit and they say, "Okay, I want to do my thing." And I don't have time for kids. That's also a thing. And these things can like also shift like really rapidly. So my advice to everybody young, don't set any hard positions on stuff like having kids or getting married, because these can change multiple times, and you don't need to like give an account of yourself to anybody. Just you do you. You're doing great. Okay. I'm like this weird young person who's committed to one person. I know the deepest lore on this. I don't want to make slaves for capitalism. Well, okay, if you're talking about kids and society and stuff, there are different ways to look at this, okay? Most people think that like you have kids when you're rich, or like so you can afford to put them through college or stuff. But if you look at real life, the people who reproduce the most are the people who have the least. Everybody gives a bad time to immigrants for like having lots of kids, but then in one generation those kids don't have as many kids as their parents did. People have kids because of a lack of hope, actually. They say, okay, my life's already fucked, might as well have a baby and like launch one out there, because the the pain and duty of raising a kid isn't going to hurt me any more than life is already hurting me now. So I'll at least have something to live for. So they have kids, kids, kids. Whereas when people have things to lose, they like their creature comforts and actually don't have kids. This is actually why populations are to a degree plateauing all over the world. And can you blame them? I mean, like, I remember this one exchange between an famous Armenian philosopher, let's say, in Turkey. And they go to the eastern part of Turkey where a lot of Kurdish people live. And Kurdish people normally have way more kids than Turkish people who live slightly more urbanized lives. And then everybody in this tour is saying, "Oh, these Kurds, they have so many babies, they can't take care of themselves, and it's a cycle of poverty." But then this Armenian philosopher says, "Well, are they having kids and big families because they're ignorant? Or is it because due to certain, let's say, oppressive quirks in history, family is the only thing you can rely on in that part of the country. Just think about it. Tin, tin, tin, tin, tin. Reminds me of the film Idiocracy. I actually find the main plot in Idiocracy to be extremely classist and fallacious. There is even a YouTube video about that in my channel. So if you just scroll back, you'll find it. Basically, the premise assumes that educated college people are better. And because they don't have more kids, dumb people inherit the states. Whereas if you know anything about reality, you would know that, like, I mean, their views may be distasteful. As I just told, like, you may not like the fact that they shop at Walmart or something, but some of those, like, quote unquote, idiocracy people are the shrewdest operators. Very cunning. Cunning, you don't learn cunning in school. Mom popped in to say hello. So the whole thing is that, like, any country after 2 generations would actually be more hale and more dynamic if the snobby elites who study at Stanford have 1 kids and then they all die and fuck off. And then all the based people who work with their hands have more kids. So it's like a lava lamp, like circulation of classes, or any country that's a healthier dynamic in the long run. Because countries with ossified higher classes, they always explode from within through revolutions, or they just decay. Orny says, Mom popped in to say hello. Rexy Rex says, are you going to TetsuCon? I already answered this. I don't think so because of money issues. Hearing this makes me want to laugh out loud, says Jamir White. Jamir White is also afraid of overpopulation. And how is the weather in Istanbul? It's rainy and nice. I don't think there's anything to be scared of overpopulation or underpopulation. Life will always go on. In our future, there's going to be something very interesting. There's going to be a lot of old people without kids around, and they will create new ways of, like, they will add new details to social life in cities and social life in general. It's been an hour. Kind of getting late, but I really enjoyed talking with you. Let's break open one of these tangerines. Okay, let's change tack from population and social issues, and I don't know. Let's do a poll about where everybody is in education wise. Are you in college? Are you in high school? Comment on, or are you in the working phase of your lives? Which part of the human life cycle are you on? Mm, some good shit. This is tangerine colored now. Mm. Answers are coming in. Oh, this tangerine is really suiting to my vocal cords. I'm a working larva. Imago. Oh, nice. I'm gonna be reading all the comments in a bit. Soon as I finish this tangerine. ASMR. Oh, this was good. Fuck yeah. This is all there is to life: eating food and talking with friends. If you got those two down, you got like 80% of the question solved. Really. Eating food, talking to friends, drawing shit. That's the life. Okay, everybody's commenting on their life cycle station. Jaden is in college trying to transfer to art school. Best of luck. You are a really talented artist, and like, I hope the transition happens. I hope your family doesn't give you pushback on it. Orny says, I couldn't go to college because high schools hurt me mentally. Well, high school hurt me mentally too. And actually, in college, I also like did the whole dropout shtick. So don't feel bad. As long as you can find a vocation in life, you don't need, nobody needs to go to college. And this is something I observe more and more among young people these days. In my time, it's like, if you don't go to college, what are you? But now I hear from lots of people saying rightly, I think that college is a waste of time, and they would have been better off learning a vocation. So yeah. Scroll down a bit. Good evening, says Gabriel. Nicholas Konradsen. I left secondary school a few years back to become homeschooled, and I've never looked back. Based. I guess now I'm out of education, making instruments and playing music. Yeah. You found your calling. You're gonna have a long life because you found your calling. I'm doing fish sticks. It's a very delicate state of mind. Bon appetit, my friend. Misha Janovsky says, I'm a working larva. Thomas Trimple, I graduated about 2 years ago, looking to get into grad school for geoscience anthropology, but I've been doing some world traveling in the meantime. Best of times. I like that too. I'll be starting college again next week. I tried to study to become a vet tech last time, but it was too hard. I'm trying again. Best of luck. I hope you make it. Remember, there is no pressure. If you're living in the US and Milady was living in the US, America is unique in that you got so many opportunities to retrain. And even though the system is pretty like wild and like vicious compared to Europe, in the States, if you retrain, you will find a job and like you will make money. So that's the good thing about the States. Laura Lay is taking a work semester from college and looking for work. It's been a tumultuous few months. Oh, my friend, I hope it goes better. Like, if misery loves company, I think everybody here has some like shit going on in the background. But I don't think there's a saying, ne kadar insan o kadar dert, which means As many people, as many woes. So there's nobody without woes. I gotta get going. I enjoyed the live stream. Bye bye, Jaden. I've been thinking of becoming a stonemason, says Fernando. If you do that, I think you'll be richer off than anybody in the stream now. Milady says, my mom believes that my brother and I need college in order to do things with our lives. You can't really blame her because that's the world she grew up with. And if somebody has kids and these kids don't go to college, they're afraid of the kids slacking off and basically becoming like stay at home, like man babies or woman babies. And parents can get really vicious about this. I would say that if you know what you want to be, like if you say, okay, I want to become a stonemason or I want to become somebody who makes musical instruments, go do that. And like that's the only way you like that's the like righteous way of not going to college, you know. You still have to work and study or like acquire practice for something. I mean, the old adage is true, stick around, don't be a punk. Squidlord says, I don't need college since I finished high school for okay, then you're set. Especially for graphic design. Even with all the AI shit, I think designers will never go out of work. They may really have to struggle to get their money from freelance clients, but designers will never go out of work. I've talked about what's going on Twitter. If you haven't seen it yet, well, out of respect for your privacy, I will look at it later. Milady says, I always wanted to help animals, but I always wanted to make cartoons and video games and stuff like that. Well, in this case, if you commit to your college now, and well, we really turned into a life advice, Daddy Cosman here tonight, didn't we? Okay, commit to the vet career and use the time to work on your drawings and your computer games. It's what I'm doing with my life. I'm working during the day as an advertising copywriter, and in the time after work, I got all this shit, and I got you guys. Here's hoping to a future for artists, says Ornis. Almost an hour and a half, huh? I could keep going. I don't need to have an early night tonight, but how's everyone feeling? Do you feel like you want to go, or should we keep this going for a bit more? Let's do a roll call. Should I stay or should I go? Come on. More, says more. I got here. I just got here. Okay, everybody wants a bit more. This is great for drawing. Okay, well, okay, half an hour more then. You earned it. But I will ask you to like go on your socials, on your Discord or whatever, and call everybody. Let's get more bodies in here. Ah, thank you. Nicholas Konradsen says, is that tangerine one of those famous tangerine garden tangerines like Özgür Baba lives near? I don't know who Özgür Baba is. Are you referring to the famous progressive synth band Tangerine Garden? I don't know who Özgür Baba is, but he sounds like a scary guy. Emir Ocak says, "What up, gang? Hi. Anybody from Turkey in stream? Come on." Oh, I'm thinking about Tangerine Dream. Yes, not Tangerine Garden. Yeah, true. Are you okay with people DMing you for life advice on Twitter? Yes, but I cannot guarantee timely responses. But of course, I'm not on Discord most of the time. I have an account, but I rarely use it. Emir Ocak says, "Selam from İzmir." Izmir must be fantastic at this time of the year. Just autumn setting in. Imagine a kind of like seaside city with like old moldering apartments, and like a big seaside promenade, people just hanging around, lounging around. I actually have a Izmir special travel adventure, like hours and hours of stuff. I'm just waiting to cut it. Herne says, "Are you much of a gamer?" Ah, my gaming days ended with, I think, the PlayStation 1. I'm not much of a gamer at all. If I have free time, I like either paint or like do stuff like this. I always think like, what did you do for your arts and creative career? Oreosaurus, have you thought of adding sophons to Snayad? Well, if you read between the lines, there used to be sophons, but not anymore. But I'm not going to have an intelligent Snayad creature, no. But some things might be intelligent, but they won't be like any spare holding natives or like indigenous stand-ins in conflict with people. There will be many strange animals that act in strange and perplexing ways. Do you believe that video games are art? Great question, milady. I think they're a legitimate art form. I mean, like in 50 years, maybe even now, there will be doctorate theses written on video games. They're a legitimate form of human expression, a legitimate form of art. They shape the mindscapes of generations. That's the thing with video games. I think all art does that to some degree. But video games do it more than most because they're not a passive narration like television, but there's worlds, in which people can move and like, and also like in the last two generations, the video games are interactive things played between people. So yeah. Will Snayat have woody trees? Yeah, trees evolved multiple times on Earth. No reason for them not to evolve on Snayat too. Emir Ocak was actually living in Ankara, which is the most based city, but they've recently moved to Izmir. Orni says, if this community could organize a charity event, what cause would you pick? Oh, easy, like student debts and shit. In fact, a close online friend was like having real trouble because of student debts. I wish we could do something about that, but I mean, this is not a very big community, so like the causes would have to be individually tailored. I'm saying maybe like help somebody out, they're in a tough spot. Everybody pitching $20, shit like that. Fernando KTKX has a three-part question. Part one, I need help with this story. I don't know how I want it to start. Story is about a crab's journey to become strong enough to beat a god. Just start with this sentence. The crab had a vendetta against God. And just write on from there. Usually, when you're writing stories, you have to have like this one punchline in the first thing. And if you go along with that, the audience will go along too. You remind me of that one artist who paints nostalgic paintings of 90s video games. Yeah, there was somebody like that. Like they were using oil, but to paint like screenshots from video games. 14 people in stream. Yeah. Caden Slinker, how old are the Kuhanim? You did not read the memo, did you? No, all tomorrow's questions, please. Let me show you this other painting I painted today. I love the camera. Look at it. Wow. Oh, it's this thing running from time in an unpredictable and calamitous world. But I just like I'm having a really good time painting using acrylics as if they were oil. It's nice. Good shit. How Gang is the artist that looks like 3D renders. Okay. Are you also I'm making the cucumbers look so tasty. Well, the trick is just to split it without peeling and then pour salt over it. So it's a really nice hydrating snack. I like the sense of motion in the painting. Thank you. Thank you. Caden Slinker says, sorry, I didn't know. Please forgive me. Ah, come on. Don't worry. I'm not mad. What do you mean using acrylics as if they were oil? Okay, I'll give you a primer. You know, oil painting has this like thick textured nature. Basically, this is another painting done in a similar way, by the way. These are acrylics, but they kind of look like oil paint. Well, maybe this one does. A trick is to keep the paper constantly wet with a little spray like this. So you're just keeping spray, spray, spray, but like never let this up until you're finished with it. Then you set it to dry. And then it's almost indistinguishable from oils, to be honest. Why are crabs always depicted as red in various media? Because that's how most people know them, as food. And crabs eaten as food are red, so they are red. Oh, great night. Cosman ASMR. Yes, this is the last one though. Are there naturally red crabs? Yes, there are. Go to there's a website. Go to my crab special videos, and in there, there's a website that lists all crab families in the world. That's a great resource. Where can I get a copy of all yesterday's? Go to Amazon.com, just write all yesterday's Cosman, and you can buy it there. Try cucumber with soy sauce. Interesting. Any new mid video mega series in the making? Yes, I am making Criminal Cryptids number 2, but it's getting delayed because I keep finding new Criminal Cryptids. So, like, the presentation is ready, the intro video is ready, like, it's all ready to go. Just a bit more. Then I got a few more surprises in the pipeline, but they're surprises. I farted, sorry. Oh, after a good feast like this, it's the best feeling. I wish we had trilobites instead of crabs. Well, I'm pretty sure if trilobites lasted that long, some of them would evolve into very crab like shapes too. Any new video mega series, I want to do all pigeon species of the world. Those are cool. Benny says, any advice on performing or speaking on stage? I recently had my first musical performance. Somehow couldn't do anything right. Okay, so music and speaking are two different things, in my humble opinion. Music, I would be excited too because, like, you can't make obvious mistakes with music. When I'm speaking, I have always had this thing where I know what I want to say. I think, like, the audience is there. They've already, like, I've already won the fight. So I'm always very calm, composed, somewhat assertive, and I seize the initiative when speaking. I never had this kind of, like, social anxiety. It just never flipped on in me. But with music, I would be scared. For public speaking, one of my highlights of my career was getting invited to this TED Talk conference in Spain, and I just went out there with just pure improvisation. So cool. Nicholas Cornelsen, thoughts on mollusks, including snails and octopi and stuff. I hope they rule the world someday because they're cool. They're great. There are many different species of mollusks, including some very weird lineages like tusk shells or chitons, and they're nice. Do you believe animal species is useless? I don't look at life forms in terms of utility because that's not how life works. To some degree, yes, organisms develop because of niches, but they don't serve a purpose. You're an organism too. I mean, many organisms could be said to be useless for people. But then again, this world doesn't exist for people's sake, does it? E.L. Wallace says 16 people. Mollusks, in a way, do rule the world. There's so many. There are many species of micro snails in water and land. There's extremely diverse. What do you think about people who believe certain animal species are useless? Those people are useless. I don't know. Unfortunately, many people think this way. Like I've got an encyclopedia on like all batoids of the world, like skates and rays and stuff like that. It's a big, big, hefty book. And I remember one like fucking asshole visiting the home. He was like, only question, why? He's like, and like little cone snails, the ones found in Australia. Are they snails or are they conches? I think they're conches. Getting sleepy. If octopi lived longer, do you think they would become more intelligent than us? I think many animals are as intelligent as many people, but their environments just don't necessitate that form of expression. And how do you get on the same level with an intelligence that evolved in a different environment? That's the thing. Herne says they were warned about picking up shells on beaches. Are you living in Australia, by the way? My good man. Caden Slinker says, I consider mosquitoes. I mean, yeah, mosquitoes are like annoying, pesky, and like in many places a health hazard. I wouldn't disagree with that. But I mean, they're just disturbing parasites, but I calling them useful or uses is something else. Ah, so okay, during visits to Florida, okay. I'm a single brain celled organism. Ornis says mosquitoes are smarter and more adaptable than we think. Yeah, probably. That's why they are. Okay, I think everybody, myself included, agrees that mosquitoes are bad. Nicholas Conradson says Nautilus and bristly worms are really great. Are we the only organisms that eat cooked food? Well, you know those leafcutter ants, they don't cook their food with fire, but they cut the leaves and they have to have a fungus digest the leaves and then they eat the fungus. So there are a lot of animals that prepare their food with even like artificial quote unquote technologies, but cooking with fire, I don't know. Right there. We got a lot and lot of nice comments and questions and conversations today, and still 18 people going strong. I think one of the most interesting points was my elementary school teacher appearing and dropping a comment. That was really cute. Peter is back. Okay. Peter and his dastardly brother have become a running trope with this here series of live streams. Stream keeps lagging. Okay, I think it's the stream's way of saying that there are memory issues and stuff. So I'm slowly getting ready to call it a night. What do you think about life on low gravity worlds? They would be very interesting, and there would be Shapes, forms, and niches we can't even imagine. Is Phtanum B a low gravity world? If I exaggerate how crabs fight, watch videos of crabs fighting and try to describe them from their perspective. Maybe that helps. Ruli 18 Life says Oreo. Well, okay, unless they're a boat. What about